Going to the grocery store for me is much better now, several years later, after I've learned quite a bit about autism. But in the very beginning, it was a complete nightmare. And doing it alone was even more difficult because just getting in the door was so hard. There would be screaming and yelling and fighting. And I thought, this is a grocery store. Why is this so difficult? There's so many neat things in here to look at and to do. And I didn't realize that they had sensitivity to things. One of my sons has a sensitivity to light. So just the light in the store was driving him bonkers. My other son had a sensitivity to sound. So all the people and all that noise that we're accustomed to and don't even think twice about was killing him.
Over 10,000 families in Austin have been identified with having a special need.
The hardest part was the first day, learning to accept that there's something different about your son.
Well, yo esperaba un bebé como todos los bebés que había visto. Cuando me dijeron que él tenía síndrome de Down, la verdad no sabía que era síndrome de Down.
Que algo andaba mal. Los ojitos rasgaditos, sus bracitos flácidos.
Getting the diagnosis, that one was a little harder than I expected it to be.
One of the most confusing things that you encounter when you get any kind of diagnosis, an onslaught of doctors, social workers, schools, therapists that have different paperwork for each institution, for each place.
When I told my family that my children had autism, you could hear a pin drop. Nobody knew what it was. Nobody knew what it meant.
What happens to these families is that they don't have a place to learn. They don't have a place to connect with other families, to know what the resources are available to them, or to just receive emotional support for being a parent with a child with special needs.
Vengan, vamos a jugar un juego. Todos los niños, vengan.
Growing Roots is an Austin-based nonprofit that provides classes and support groups to parents that have children with special needs, to provide them with information, resources, to connect them with other families that have a child with special needs, and to empower them. The families that are enrolled with Growing Roots are overwhelmed by the amount of time and energy that they have to provide for their children so they can be successful.
I prepped him the night before over and over and over again. We're gonna go to school with the big kids, and he was really excited.
I had to literally hold him down and force my 2-year-old at that point to brush his teeth because he's screaming like I've got razor blades in his mouth.
By the time we got to the school, it was a meltdown. He was just, you could see it in his eyes. He wasn't there, he wasn't focusing.
Yo seguí investigando para poder también ayudar, porque él va a una escuela de educación especial y a veces los niños no están recibiendo ese apoyo. Lo más difícil es que en esas juntas o en la escuela hay 20 personas y desafortunadamente solo uno es quien cree en Brandon.
While your child is at school, you're busy making phone calls to the doctor, you're busy trying to schedule therapy visits. And once they're home, you may have 2 to 3 hours of therapy left with that child. And keep in mind that most of our families have at least 2 other children at home and are currently receiving food stamps and living under the poverty level.
Growing Roots was the first place where I didn't have to apologize for Oliver. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a grocery store and someone behind me has said, I would have smacked him by now.
People automatically assume that you're a bad parent or you're a lazy parent or why don't you spank them? I was told that by my own parents, as if I spanked them more, they wouldn't be autistic.
¿Cómo realmente es la vida? Para mí mi objetivo es que él pueda participar en la comunidad rodeado de gente con disabilidades y sin disabilidades.
Growing Roots was like a lifesaver.
Me ha ayudado en los programas de educación, a qué doctores llevarlo, a qué terapias llevarlo.
Talking to other women, other families that are in my situation that understand.
Puedes platicar de todo lo que te está pasando, de todo lo que estás pasando en ese mes, en esa semana, lo que estás pasando en la escuela.
Because it feels really good to have somebody care and want to help you. Because you feel so helpless in this world sometimes.